So we went out to the theater tonight to see Bone Lake, which we already got to see Good Boy. And so instead, we got to go out and see this, which, we were pretty happy we got to see that at home since we got to watch it with
Yes,
our dog.
very happy about that.
So if you're wondering where that review is, it's already up. You missed it. So yeah, Bone Lake. This is about a couple who rents a really nice house for the weekend, and unfortunately, they double booked the place.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yes.
Sounds very familiar. Yes, it has pretty much the exact same setup as Barbarian, except for double the characters.
Yeah.
Right? In Barbarian, it's just a man and a woman. In this, it's two men, two women. So yeah, they start to stay in this house together. Of course, they agree to just deal with it and stay there together. And yeah, things go down. I mean, what more can I say? Now, there's definitely a movie that I could compare this to in addition to Barbarian, because it's like a mashup of those two films. I won't say what that is just because I feel like that would be spoilery. Yeah, overall I liked the movie. I know this will, I don't know. I'm curious on your thoughts. I'll hold off on my deeper thoughts for the moment, but
Yeah, I think overall I liked it. I think the ending is good. There's some really good like kill sequences and such, some gore happening, which I like. I was definitely frustrated at one point in the film with like some of the characters' behavior and like reactions to things, which is not like a failure of the plot or anything. It was just like very aggravating to watch, like a very specific scene in general that I did find it a little unbelievable, but at the same time, we've seen other movies where characters react in similar fashion, and people love that. I know that's like really vague. I'm trying not to compare it to something else because it might be a little spoilery, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely contrivances, but I think the film does a pretty good job of explaining itself in a believable enough way. You don't have to agree with the characters, right? You don't. If everybody is, because that's how these types of movies typically play out for the audience. Is people have a really hard time disconnecting themselves from how they would react, what they would do, and they expect the characters to act just like how they would. I don't think anything in this movie is any more unbelievable than most typical film plots and conveniences. I think because I walked out of this movie thinking, well, that sure as hell was a movie, right? Like, these are fantastical situations,
definitely.
right? These are situations that people, even if they found themselves in, would not, the scene would not play out in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, characters are meant to make more ridiculous decisions purely for entertainment's sake.
Yeah.
Because the writer is trying to get them to a place specifically, and it is up to the writer to try to do this balance of believability and entertainment value.
Yeah.
And you've always got to give a little to get a little. And that balance is tough. And I think that it justifies itself well enough. I never felt like, oh, come on. That never really happened for me. Now, that will vary from person to person, and that's always going to be true. But especially with films like this film does ask you to suspend some disbelief, for sure, because of character decisions, because of the plot setups and all of that stuff. But I don't know. I've watched so many films now, and I don't feel like this one's any more egregious than others. And we've on this channel watched plenty of movies where I'm like, no, their balance wasn't there. They broke their own rules. This doesn't feel like it's in line with the characters. I didn't have that issue. The issue I did have, and this is not really a huge knock on the film, but this will surprise absolutely no one, including my wife, is that this is supposed to be a very like erotic, sexy kind of film. Like there's a lot of eroticism. There's a lot of sexuality.
Yeah.
The insinuation of not only the title but the marketing for this film is a lot of sex, right? And the story is predicated on sexuality. That's a huge theme within the film, and this just feels like such a watered down, Americanized version of that. You have a cast that is trying to seduce one another, trying to like. There's a lot of sexuality in the film, and nary a nipple is shown, right? Like there's no actual like sexuality in the film.
A really gratuitous opening.
There is. There is.
Like,
but it's
I
not
feel
our
like
main
people
characters.
will watch that and be like, "What are they talking about?"
Sure.
And also, I think isn't the production company that does this? Isn't it like a UK production company? Like it's not.
I almost
American,
feel like but it's an American
has
film.
That feel.
It's an American
sure.
film, no doubt about it. If this was like a French film or something, this thing would go balls to the wall with its sexuality. It would really commit to its
I think
premise.
you're right. I think that there's.
And I think this just kind of neuters the film and what like whitewashes it a bit,
because
and I don't like that about it.
There's something that happens in the film that like is more impactful if the sexuality is really like leaned into
front and center,
more.
100%.
Otherwise, without it, it's kind of like, okay, I don't know.
It just doesn't seem as alluring. And yeah, sorry, I don't.
It just doesn't feel as no. I'm sorry. It just doesn't feel as intense. Is really the main thing.
It is important too,
yeah.
right? Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, he just wants to see nudity." Yes, sure, I do, but I do think it is relevant to this plot because of what we're dealing with, because of characters and what they're dealing with within the film. The sexuality, especially the I'm trying to talk about this without spoilers, so that's that's what's making this tough, but I just feel like it would be more impactful to characters' decisions if we could see what is going on.
Yeah.
Right? It just, I don't know, it adds to the movie. And for a movie that has so much sexuality in it at its core, this is a insanely tame film in that regard. Right? It would be like going to see, like 50 Shades of Grey or something, sure, and they're not going to like show a boob or like any actual like sex. They'll just kind of allude to it. And it's like, no, what? Absolutely not. Not in a movie like this. I'm sorry. It has to be there in a film like this. So that irked me a good amount. But putting that aside, I think it's an entertaining film and one that definitely keeps you guessing and on your toes at times. And while fantastical and expecting you to suspend a decent amount of disbelief, I don't ever think it overdoes it in that department any more than a typical film does. Yeah. So yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, but it's probably a one-time watch, but a fine one. Do I think you need to rush out to the theater to see this for like $15 a piece? Theaters are super expensive nowadays. No, probably not. This is probably a VOD release. But it's enjoyable. If you want to know what that other film is that we're referring to, if you don't care because you're trying to still be sold on it, I will. We can say that here in a second. But any more thoughts before that?
No.
Yeah, everyone's acting in the movie is good.
Yes.
I like the performances from everybody. The script is pretty good. It just, I don't know. It felt so tame in a lot of areas where it shouldn't be. I feel like this was dying to be a foreign film,
Yeah. This is one where it's like, it should be remade. And like,
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of remakes and foreign films, spoiler-ish territory here. The other film that we were going to say is...
Speak No Evil.
Yeah, this is definitely like a mix-up, a little hodgepodge of Barbarian and Speak No Evil. I mean, that's basically what this film is.
Yeah, it doesn't have... I mean, the things that happen in Barbarian and Speak No Evil are not what happened in this film at all, but the premise for Barbarian with like the character reactions from Speak No Evil is what I would say.
Yes, like, but the American version of Speak No Evil.
Yeah, kind of. With a little, I don't know. There's one scene in particular.
They have more backbone in this one.
They do.
The Speak No Evil.
But there is a scene
Danish
in this
version.
Yeah.
Is way.
It's much more. Yeah. Well.
There's a scene in this what?
It just, there's one scene in this that I just found to be so, like, no way. There's no way that, like, somebody would react like that. But there are people that would react like that. So
is this at a table?
Yes.
I don't know. I thought they actually wrote that scene pretty well for like how insane it is and the reaction. I thought the reactions actually were pretty believable because they built in kind of a safeguard, get out of jail free card for one of the characters.
That's fair.
Right. I don't want to beat around the bush.
Fair.
We'll talk about this after.
But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. But I don't know. I'll be curious to see what people think if they watch this and what their reactions are. I think you already said it well, where it's like, this is definitely like a fantastical like scenario. This is a movie. The things that happen in it are very much like movie reactions to things.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Like, I don't have a huge issue with it. It was just a very aggravating scene for me. So that's all.
Yeah, I mean, would I react that way? Fuck no. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I'm extremely reactionary. I'm like the last person to sit there and take it. Like, I just immediately would jump up and be like, what the fuck? Right? That's just me, but this person is not me.
Yeah, it fits the character.
It does.
Still was just very like, come on. So, anyway, that's all. That's it. Yeah. That's all to say.
Yeah, Bone Lake. I think the last thing I'll say on the movie is I think this movie is gonna get panned because of its marketing, and I think that's a shame, because like the posters and the trailer suggest that this is a very sexually charged film, and I think a lot of people will be going to this to expect a more like erotic experience, like with the horror and like maybe some comedy or stuff in it, and it's just a very neutered, very tame version of that. And I almost feel like we were talking about earlier, and I was going to mention this and then we got off the topic really quick, but I almost feel like the opening scene was like test audiences' reactions, and there's no way to go back and get the actors. I'm sure the actors were like, I'm not doing nudity. And so they were like, yo, what's up with this film? Why is it so tame? And they were like, all right, let's throw in some gratuitous nudity in the opening to kind of pad it a little bit so that people won't have as much of a complaint. Because these are just random like actors that are really just there to show nudity off. I feel like they hired them specifically to throw in the opening so that people felt like they were getting what they paid for. Because that's how this movie's being marketed. That's how this movie's being sold. And it's like you said, people are going to watch the beginning. They're like, what are these guys talking about? There's tits and dick and like, what more do you want? Right? And it's like, okay, that's 2 minutes of the movie. Then it's 90 minutes of nothing. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So I have a suspicion that was a tacked on reshoot.
You might be right.
Maybe. Anything more?
No.
Bone Lake. A lot of boning at that lake.
Yes.
But we don't see it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.